Hello, Ron Briggs, Blackmore Vale Honey, and welcome back to the channel. So welcome back to what is the March edition of my 1 year in beekeeping. So we got a lot done last month, which was really cool, and we kind of got ahead of ourselves, which we needed to, because we're having a little break at the end of this month before the season starts proper. We're going on holiday, so short month this month, but we've still got loads to do. So we got some wax to melt in. So the what you saw of the steaming out and all the cutting out and the melting of the wax, etc., now is going to go into the soup cauldrons to have its final rendering ready to go off for exchanging for some foundation. We'll be doing that at the spring convention early next month in April. So we got that to sort out this month. So yeah, another busy month. So yeah, let's get on with it, and welcome to March. Okay, so what we're going to be doing now is we've got the beekeeping show coming up, and I want to exchange some of my wax. So if you remember, I used my good wax, my Cappins wax. We use that for making our candles and things. But all the other wax that we've rendered from the boxes, which you saw me doing last month, we exchanged that for new foundation. But the state that it's in after it's been rendered through the steam box is it's not really good enough. Because if you think about it, it's only had that filter through a queen excluder, so really rough filtering. But it gets rid of all the majority of the rubbish. And then we just put it through a second filtration stage, which in this case is soup cauldrons, and that gets rid of the rest of the impurities. Probably not to the standard to make candles and things, because we do that once more over a little camping stove, which I'll show you when I do some candles later in the year. So all this is doing is it's a second stage rendering ready to go to for exchange. So soup cauldrons are really good. They get just hot enough that they melt the wax, and they work. All they are really is a bain-marie. So you've got an internal pot, which you put a little bit of water in. It's literally just, I don't know if you can see that in the bottom. That's it. That's literally all the water you need in there. This one's probably got a bit too much in it, but yeah, that's all the water you need in there. Now these soup cauldrons, pick those up from, I picked one from a charity shop and one from Facebook Marketplace, next to no money. And they do exactly what you need them to do. So what I do then is, you need a bit of water. So we put a bit of water in here, because same as what we did with the when we was doing the steaming, because what happens is then the wax will float on top of the water. So we'll do that, but the wax, which is still a bit rubbish, we will put into one of these bags. And these bags just come from the Lidl, and all they are is the netting bags that you get from to put the vegetables in. They're on that same aisle as where the edged vegetables are, and they cost 50p, and for your 50p you get 2 bags. So 2 bags, kind of that size, and all you do then is load those up with the wax and then put that into there. So I'll get a couple loaded and show you. So you're done. So what we've done is, if you remember, that was all the well, not all the wax, but the majority of that was wax that had come out of the steamer. Now, because of the way that it falls out of the steamer, it's really easy to break. Sometimes you've got to use a little something to pry it apart. But you pry it apart and it's really easy to break. So you break it down into chunks, and in there is lots of other old bits of wax and stuff, and then load it up into your bags, and then you put your bags into your cauldrons. I've put a bit too much water in that one, but you put to about, I don't know, 2/3 of the way up the side, and there's your bag, and that's just in water. And what will happen is the wax will melt slowly because it's in the soup cauldron, and then all you'll be left with is an empty bag, and then you switch it off, let it cool down, and the wax will go to the top and the water's bottom. So anyway, once when I get to that stage, I'll show you. So I've done the same with both. That one's more like it. That just two-thirds up the side of it. They're both on now, and we'll just let them do their own thing. If you wanted that to go a bit quicker, you'd boil a kettle first and put that in it. And literally use all your wax. So in there, so all that wax in there is just from the apiary. So that's just from about 4 hives, I reckon. And you know, every time you inspect, you scrape the tops off and you clean it up. So this wax in here has got a lot of propolis and bee bits and that kind of stuff in it, because it's all just scrapings. But you got to do something with it, you know, and it's really bad practice when you scrape it off just to throw it on the floor. So scrape it off, screw it into a little ball, and then just chuck it into a pot till the end of the year. So we will get more wax out of these two because they come out of the steamer, and the majority of that is wax. There'll be 2 really big chunks of wax come out of that. Whereas normally if you're doing this, you know, just taking out frames, you'll get all that slum gum and everything else, and all you'll do is you'll get a little slither of wax on the top. So, but then what you do is, second stage rendering, all those little slithers, you just break them all up, put them back in, and eventually get a bigger chunk. And I'll show you once they are melted. Those bags, by the way, these ones, I said the two for 50p, they'll last all season. I haven't got any used ones to show you, because I got rid of them all at the end of last season because they were getting a bit old and tatty. So what you do is, once you take them out, well, I'll show you when you take them out, you leave them in a certain way that you can just reuse them again the next time, and I'll show you that when we take them out. So all we got to do now is wait for those to melt. So use a bit of Varroa mesh. Now, it doesn't matter that it's all full of wax and everything else, because we're gonna get all this back out again. Because what we'll do is we will put the bags, which I think have still got some in, plus all of these and everything else. We'll pop them in a pan, or probably back in one of these, and we'll just melt it all out again, which is simples. So the only thing I've noticed is with this bit of Varroa mesh, if this is heavy, this bag, it tends to sag too much in the middle. So I've also got just a couple of sticks that I can support it with if I need to. So first thing we need to do is just lift that out of there, let it drain a bit. And then we'll put our Varroa mesh underneath it so they can drain through it. Oh, that's all right, it's not too bad. Now, if you're going to reuse the bags, which you can do numerous times, at this point is the time to open them, because they will go really, really stiff once it dries, once the wax goes hard, and then you won't be able to open them. So if you just open them now, there you go, like that, and then all you simply need to do, what you'd normally do then is just wait for the just to cool down a little bit, not that much. That's cooled down too much. A little bit, and then you could tip all the slum gum and everything else onto your compost heap. But we're probably going to run these bags through again just to make sure we get everything. That's it. Turn off the cauldron and let that cool. And what we'll do is we will come back and have a look at these once the wax is set. Okay, so we've left this overnight now, and you can see that's the wax floating on top of the water. So all I need to do now is take that outside and tip it out and separate the water from the wax. Let's go do that. So there we are then, that's the wax that we've recovered from all that you've seen me doing so far, steaming out the boxes and everything else. So these bottom ones, these 3 definitely, and probably that one, were from bags where they've already been steamed out, so the majority of what was in there was already wax. And then these thinner ones of just all the other bags I've put in it, which is just the junk wax really. So there's a lot of wax there. What I will be doing is I'll be heating it once more, melting it once more, just to put it into similar blocks. I don't really need to. That could go now to the wax exchange, no problem at all. But we'll just melt that down once more and put it into more manageable blocks really. And then the other thing I'm doing is, I don't always do this. The only reason I'm doing this more for cleaning up my equipment than anything else. So in there at the moment is all the bags, which again you don't normally need to do because you normally get most of it and it's just slum gum. But because a couple of those bags were so full of wax that there is quite a bit of wax left in there, I say quite a bit, some wax, and also the Varroa screens are now covered in wax. So we're just going to put them in here, melt it through once more, just to clean stuff up really, but we will recover some wax from it, and then we'll put it with the other wax and we'll sort something out with it again. So we'll let that cook off and dry, and then we'll see where we go from there. Yeah, that was that last lot. So there we have it then. So that is 7.16 kilos or 15 pounds 12. So that is not a bad haul, is it? So what you see me do last month, steaming out all those frames, and then we melted down that just that rubbishy wax we collected, and that's the end of it. So we have now got 15, whatever that was, 15 pounds 12 ounces worth of wax to take with us to the spring convention, and we'll exchange that for foundation. So what is 15.12 pounds of wax going to be actually worth to me? So obviously the best thing that you could do with it is to render it down some more and use it for candle making, or sell it as pure beeswax. I don't make anywhere near enough candles, so the cappings wax is more than enough for me, and that needs less rendering. And I don't actually sell that much beeswax. In fact, I sell very, very little beeswax. I do give beeswax away. My mate of mine, who's the chippy, the carpenter, I quite often give him a block of beeswax because he uses that on his machines, etc. But in return, he gives me loads of advice when I need it. For example, in building a honey house. So, and the other person who has quite a bit of beeswax off is my son. He's in the Navy, so he takes it on with him, and his mates, they rub it on their zips because apparently the salt water corrodes the zips and makes them difficult to use. So they rub my beeswax on it. So that's got the use there. But I don't, the cappings wax is more than enough for that. So I don't actually need this much wax. So that the options that gives me then is the next thing that would be worth more is if I was to make my own foundation. But to make your own foundation, you'll require a machine to do it and the time to do it. And to be completely honest, I just haven't got the time to be doing that. So that leaves me the option, the only other option then really is to get it turned into new foundation. So if I was to take it to one of the beekeeping suppliers, and what I'm going to use thorns. I've just been on their website to work out how much this much wax would actually get me in terms of foundation. Now, as you remember earlier, I said I've run out of super foundation, so that's what I need. So that's what I've been working out. How much super foundation will this much wax get me? So the first thing I could do to it, which would be the absolute worst thing to do, I could literally just sell it straight to them. And if I sold it to them, they would give me £18.36 for that. Or I can buy stuff from their store, and in which case they would give me £27.49 against purchasing the store. So a bit better, but still not that good. The next thing I could do is straight swap it, what they call the wax exchange. So I could give them that and they would give me foundation. But by far the best way, and this must be from things they used to do in times gone by, because wax exchange and wax conversion are pretty much one and the same, that you take your wax, you give it to them and they give you foundation in return. I think the only difference is in conversion, you're paying them some money first, because this goes back to the days of you're asking them to convert your wax into foundation. So you're paying them to do it, and if you want wire in there as well, if you want it wired, you're also paying a wiring charge. So you're actually paying some money up front, but then getting a lot more foundation back. So, but I suppose in days gone by, what you'd have to do, you'd have to take your wax to them and then go back and pick it up, you know, a week or so later or whatever, when it'd all been done. But nowadays it's just done exactly the same time. You take it into the store, or you take it to one of the shows, you hand it over, they weigh it, and then you tell them you want it converted. They ask you what you want, and then they'll give you that there and then, but take the money off you. So just to give you some idea of what that's actually worth then. So bear in mind I only want super foundation. So if I wanted British National Super foundation, and they only deal in premium, so you got to equate it to their premium wax. So that would get me 212 sheets. 212 sheets. It would cost me £61.29 for them to do it for me, but in return I'd get £239.56 worth of foundation. So that's pretty good, isn't it? If I wanted it unwired, i.e. because I need some for cut comb, I could get 302 sheets. That would cost me £31.71 to have it converted, because obviously there's no wiring to do, so there's no wiring charge. And that'd be worth £232.54. So that's probably, that is the, if you was to be making lots of cut comb, that is the most you could get out of it. But what do I need? So I need some British Standard Shallow Thin for making my cut comb. I don't need that many, I need about 20 sheets. So that's going to cost me £2.10. And then all the rest is going to be used for wired shallow, which is 198 sheets, which is going to cost me £57.25. So in summary then, for that which I wanted, which is 20 sheets for my cut comb, which is the thin unwired, then all the rest, 198 for my standard shallow wired, is going to cost me £59.35, but I'm going to get £237.84 worth of foundation back again. So the value of that beeswax there, to me, is £178.49, which you might think, oh, that's quite a bit of work for that much money, but what else was I going to do with it? And also, on top of that, I had to reuse, if I wanted to reuse the frames, which I did, 'cause that saves another load of money, then I obviously had to cut all the old comb out and clean them up. So, you know, you've got to add that into the equation as well. So yeah, so there we go. So well worth doing. So we'll take that up to the spring convention, and we've got lots of lovely new foundation to replace it. So here we are then. It's the 3rd of March, and I'm here with at the with the association with this bunch of reprobates, which is the majority of our tutors, because we've got our beginners course starts next month. However, we had a bit of a panic because when we realised that nobody is in date with the first aid certificate. So we're rectifying that. Tonight and tomorrow night we're doing a first aid course. That gentleman over there is going to be the tutor, so we will not be the tutors, we'll be the students. And during the break I'll have a word with him to see if he can fix our addiction. That being, we buy too much beekeeping equipment. So let's do it. So I forgot to mention on last month's video, I've replaced a lot of the straps up in the out apiary. They were the cam buckle straps, you know, the ones you just pull tight. After I had those two blow over, so I've actually gone and got myself some ratchet straps, because half of them are on ratchet straps anyway. So I bought some ratchet straps from this company, Torch Strap, really good. Arrived within a couple of days, reasonably priced, very cheap actually for what they are. So absolutely perfect. So if you need a strap, a ratchet strap, definitely recommend you use these guys. So let's go down the home apiary. I don't know if you've seen this. I've got to give this a lick of paint before the season. So we're quite fortunate. Our road's quite a busy road, thoroughfare between two villages. So I have the box here, and we just sell honey from it. And that was just made to look like an old traditional beehive. It just needs a lick of paint again. But let's go into we call it the orchard apiary, or the home apiary. So there we go. I expect the bees will be flying because it's a nice warm day today. Got one or two in the wooden hive, but look, over in the nuke, they're well flying. So I've not been into these hives yet. I've been feeding. I'm watching on YouTube now, and people going into their hives. It's too early, guys. Too early, really, because even though they're flying now and it's nice and warm, don't be tempted to get in too early. We've had some frost. We had another frost last night. It's all well and good going in when it's warm. But the problem is that at night, once you go in there, you break all their propolis seals, and they just haven't really got the energy or the time to prepare it all again before it gets cold. And then, of course, the temperatures drop at night, and they might struggle a bit. So there's nothing really much to gain by going in early. So just enjoy them. Just watch them bringing the pollen in. Here come we. It's just lovely to see, isn't it? Anyway, into BHQ. So all we're doing today is we're just going to get a few supers, and we've still got this to clean up. That's something else we've got to do before the season starts. Old pallets are quite good, look, to making makeshift benches and stuff to put things on whilst you're working. But we'll get the power washer out and we'll clear all this, clean all the floor and clean all the pallets up, ready for the start of the season. So yeah, I'm just getting some of these boxes out, some of these supers out, which would be quite cool. So what I've got 10 colonies up at the out apiary, so we'll get out 10 boxes if I can fit them in the car, or as many boxes we can fit in the car, because although they're probably not ready for supers yet till the first inspection, we'll get a super above the super and a queen excluder above the crown board. So that's all we're doing. We just get a load of those out ready, then fill the car up for when we go up to the out apiary. So that's what we're doing today. So it's 20th of March. We are in the home apiary, and all we're literally doing today is, again, just that check for feed, etc. Although what I intend to do today is just lift the crown boards off them, just to see what strength is, see what plans we might need to make for the next week or so. But I'm still not doing a full inspection, because even though the weather's really nice, you can see how well the bees are flying. It could turn cold. There's nothing on the forecast. The forecast looks good. But if you do start inspecting now, that's fine. But if you injure or damage your queen, you're a bit stuck, really. There's not much you can do about it. But you can get so much information just from just enjoying the front of the hive, just looking at the front of the hive. So if we come in closer, look at that. Look at her. I don't know if you can see her there going in. Not only has she got pollen in her pollen basket, she was completely covered in pollen as well. So if you stand in the front of the hive and you go fairly close, you can see the activity, you can see the pollen going in, so you know they've got brood. You can see by looking on the floor in front, is there much in the way of dead bees? Because, you know, that could be a sign of disease. Looking on the floor underneath there, can you see all the pollen that as they've gone in, it's dropped off as they've rubbed against things? So yeah, so these, I'm confident these girls are going to be all right. You can bear in mind these girls were largely your winter bees still, and there is obviously new bees emerging now. But if you go in close and they are not bothered at all by you, then you know the temperament's likely to be good as well. So you can assess that without even opening up the hive. So if I put my hand in close, see, not really bothered, not bothered at all. That's a good sign. Now we are going to pop the tops and have a look. So that one you can see is obviously booming, but like I've said before, the pollies do tend to start earlier in the day and do well. It's about lunchtime now. The girls are coming in the wooden one here, but nowhere near as much activity as that one. So what we're going to do, we're just going to pop the lids on both, see if they've got feed them if we need to, because this is the danger time, don't forget, and we can just make an assessment if we what we need to do early in the season, and we get a heads up for our first full inspection. So let's get into this wooden one and have a look. So like I said, we're not going to do much. We're going to go in. So the first thing we can see is how much food they've taken. Do you remember this was a full one about 8 days ago? So they've still got some fondant in there. So what I'll do, probably going away for a week on holiday, so Sunday I'll just give them another full pack before I go away, but they can make do with that till Sunday, so that's okay. So there, by just looking in the front and looking on the top, we can see plenty of active bees up in the feed area, so that's also a good sign. Right, and all we're going to do is crack the crown board and have a very quick assessment. So I'm going to crack the crown board. What I'm looking for, because I don't want to have it open for long, I want to quickly assess the amount of bees that are in there. I'm looking at getting some idea of how many frames they're over. I'm not going into it. And also I want to see how busy they are, and are they going to fly up in my face the moment I take this crown board off, because I've not got any smoke going at the moment. So let's have a quick look. Okay. So even though I said about feeding, I don't think I am going to bother feeding now, because you can see in there, look, these frames, just looking in the top, stores, and this one has got some, they've drawn this out as well. So not the hugest colony, but they're across 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 seams. They're not in my face at all, look. Happy, very, very happy with that. So not the biggest colony in the world, but that'll do absolutely fine. That's got time to grow. So because they've got all those stores, I won't be giving these any food on Sunday, as I just said. Now I've made that assessment. So that colony is okay. Let's move on and have a little look at the nuke. Now I need to make an early assessment of the nukes, because a lot of the nukes are being sold. So I need to get these out to the customers that are buying the nukes sort of fairly early on, because these girls will probably be ready to go in full-size colonies, so we don't want to restrict their space. So next week, probably, or maybe first week in April, I'll do a full inspection, make sure everything is as it should be, and then we'll be moving them out to my customers. And what I do with the nukes, I'm not like posting nukes out or anything else. When I say my customers, we're probably looking at maybe 10, possibly up to 20 nukes a year, that's it. And it's all to local beekeepers. So what I like to do is I like to deliver the bees in my nuke, put it into the location that the bees are going to live with the new beekeeper. Leave that nuke there for a good 3 or 4 days. So what I might do, for example, is take it on a Tuesday evening or Wednesday evening when they're all closed up, put them there, open the front, leave them for a few days to settle, reduces the stress, and then on the weekend go back, transfer the bees into the full-size hive with the new beekeeper, so they can see everything in the nuke and make sure they're completely happy with it. before they cross my palm with money. Right, let's have a look. So again, same as the other one. This one is, they've pretty much done all the fondant. So I won't say that I'll feed them Sunday until we've looked inside. We'll see what they're looking at. But I can see they're starting to build comb up into the top of the where the fondant was. Let's have a quick look and I'll show you that. Wow, look at that. If you can see that. And they're obviously building up because, so again, I think these don't need feeding. Look at the honey across that. This is a full box. This is a full box of bees. Look at that. Hello, girls. But again, look at that for temperament. That's nice. Right, that's enough. Let's get them closed up. So we don't want to be doing full inspections. Right, girls. Look at that nectar. So again, these don't need feeding. They've got plenty of storage. Although there is a lot of them, they are building up fast. These are going to be ready to go out. So again, this was like these girls here don't tend to do as well normally because they're normally in the shade. But there's loads of activity at the front. Yeah, that's good. Looks good from the front. So these, I couldn't get these down onto a single brood last year because we had a bit of trouble with them. We had to nadir them. They were living in the top, and then we got them on the bottom, and so on and so forth. So really, the colony could have gone down to one size brood box at the end of last year, but they still had plenty of brood in both. And because they weren't massive, I didn't want to reduce that, so I let them run the winter on brood and a half. Although the size of the colony could have quite easily gone into just the brood box. See how they're doing. Okay, again, absolutely no feed in there whatsoever. And again, they're starting to build comb into the top. So let's have a quick look. Oh yeah, this one. So what you'll see is I make my own crown boards. And what I worked out a while ago is that I was forever having to take eeks with me to put feed on, or in this case to put insulation on. So I think this is probably the last one, but now all my crown boards, which I've made myself, are actually connected to an eek. So I never have to worry about going to find eeks. There's one on the top of every hive. Obviously I've still got eeks because you need eeks for other things, but yeah, and this is a traditional crown board with the two holes in it. Let's have a look. Hello, girls. How are you getting on? Oh, you propolished that up, haven't you? So that's another thing. If you go too early, you're breaking all these seals, and then you get into frozen nights. You haven't got the time to seal them up again. There we go. Oh, you've got a few bees on you, haven't you? You just wait. Can't see. So we're over. Don't forget, we're on brood and a half. There is some stores in there, so I will give these ones some more feed. But we're on 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 frames. Okay, I am going to quickly just lift it off one side. I want a very quick look in the bottom box, then I'll put it back together again. Yeah, okay, cool. That's heavy actually. Let's put the stores in there. See, brood. That's nice. Okay, so what the girls have done here, which is what always your danger if you leave them on brood, they're only using this part of the hive. That's all they're using. They're not using any of this. Yeah, nothing being used. Let's see if I've got any. See what they've got in the way of stores. So I'm just checking for food. I'm not going into the actual brood area, the brood nest. Oh, that's full. And so's the next one. So again, these girls don't really need any feeding. So we don't want to, see, we're in that danger zone as well of if they fill up with feed, they've got nowhere for brood, but these girls have got plenty of room. So again, happy with that, don't need to feed them. Sorry girls, you're on your own now, go find your food. Obviously if the weather suddenly turns really cold again, then we'll reassess, because it's all about constantly reassessing as the season goes on. But they're okay. Off you go, sweetheart. Jobs are good, and so that colony's looking okay. Hey, let's have a look at this other nuke. Look at that. They're proper going for it. Okay, let's have a look at these girls. I don't know if you remember when we last looked at these, we had, I did have some sugar left, so we put that in there. They were building up into here, but that was full. That was full of fondant. They've taken the lot down. Hello girls. Right, well, we don't need to go into this one yet because we can see. So bear in mind this isn't, I've got a bit more space in this one. So the way this box is designed, I'll go through it later in the season. It used to be a long hive, able to take 2 colonies, and I've transferred it into nukes. So in each one can take 10 frames, or was it 9? No, it can take 10 frames, but if I split them into 2 and put a divider in, then it can only take 9. So I can start with 3 frames, and the middle dividers move, so I can allow a colony to grow. Works quite well. It's got its problems, which is why I'll take you through it. But so this one at the moment, so I can afford to build up my nukes all the way up to 10 frames if I want to. And looking at this one, we're on 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and they're working the 8th frame. So again, another strong nuke that's ready to go out straight away. So that's good. So that's it. So that completes the inspections. I'll go up to the other apiary on Sunday, and we'll see what they're like.
Everywhere I go, I hear even with his mouth shut, I hear it.
You need to get the camera work a bit better, one, because every so often you're doing something and I can't do doing those frames when I was counting the nails and watching where you put it.
So every so often you get these really wonderful things to do being part of an association. So one of our newer members has now got bees, and she's asked me to come along because one of them's a dead out, unfortunately. So just come along, have a look, confirm that, and she just wanted to know what might have caused their death. So I've come along, bought, she must be obeyed, bought the wife with me because get an opportunity to come here. So this, they live in a place called, which is an old mill house. Look, there's the old mill, which come down from the river, and also what they've got on the river here is beavers. So although we're not going to see beavers today, but she's going to take us along and show us where all the beavers are and the damage they've been causing, etc. So you get to see these wonderful things, nothing to do with beekeeping, but just because you are a beekeeper. It's absolutely wonderful. So this is all fresh damage. Look, you're going to proper go at this. You can see where it's slightly older and where the new stuff is. So it's Saturday 22nd of March, and after all that study and revision, it's finally arrived. It's exam day. Now, because mother and father live next door, and Mother would have definitely forgot. She'll come round banging on the door asking if I want a cup of coffee or something, so I've had to do the old quiet please exam in progress. So wish me luck, and I'll see you on the other side. Morning, 23rd of March, back up at the out apiary. Came out yesterday to the out apiary to do a bit of work, and left my camera on charge at home, which is really annoying. However, as a result of what we saw in there, we had to come back today anyway. So yesterday was busy. If I remember doing the exam, I think that went all right. Hopefully that's gone all right. Fingers crossed. Now we've got to wait a couple of months for the results on that. And then we came to the out apiary, did a bit of work there, and then I went on to the county AGM, County Beekeepers Association AGM, mainly because I wanted to listen to the speaker that was on before the AGM. So that was quite good. And here we are, Sunday morning, back out again. But I can give you because we did go in them, I can give you a little update as to what's going on with them. So the blue one there, disappointed. There's that was a huge colony going into the winter, and there's next to nothing in it, because I actually went a little bit deeper in that one, because what I did yesterday was I went through all of them, checked if they needed feed, and I just cracked the crown board just to see what feed they had in there, but I didn't actually go in and do any examinations. But just looking on the top of the crown board, that one hadn't built up as nicely as there's next to nothing in it. I'm a bit worried about that one, but that one's doing all right, building up. That's one of the ones you remember we might do some queen rearing from. So that one's now these towers are all looking pretty big at the moment, and don't be put off. All it is I've put supers, and sometimes in some cases 2 supers above the crown board. So for example, on the yellow one there, the lighter colour, that's my crown board, because my crown boards have eeks permanently attached to them. And then you can see above the crown board there's a queen excluder and a super. So that's on most of them. That colony is doing really, really well. That's booming. That colony is okay. That one, you remember, it was these 2 that were knocked over in the storms. Well, I think she must have lost the queen, because that went from a really big colony to there's nothing in it. And I did go through it. There's a few bees, but there's no brood and no queen. Not that I saw. Mind you, looking at that, there's one just going in with some pollen. That's interesting. Unless it's robbing it, maybe. Oh no, going in with pollen. That's interesting. That's something to look forward to when we come back. That one was the other one that was knocked over. It's a little bit small as a colony, but it's okay. These 2 are both doing really well, although that one is quite small, but it's okay. It's doing what it should do. That one's okay. This one is booming. It's which is one of the reasons we've come back today. And 10, the old brown one, that's okay. But I don't know if you've noticed that one. It's in one of the old Blackmore hives. So when I first started beekeeping, I was given that. Hive, and later on I also picked up another one second hand. But when I was given the first one, it was on they were on deeps, on 14 by 12s, that size. So I very quickly realised that if you're going to have different size frames, life's going to be really difficult for you. So we did away with that, and I bought another brood box. But what I decided to do with this one was to turn it into a bait hive, which I think I've told you about before. So that's in the middle of the apiary here, and all that is apiaries do attract swarms. So if it attracts a swarm, it might find a home there, and you never know, we might pick up a free colony. So all that's in there is a tatty old frame and a bit of that lemon oil, lemongrass. See if we can attract them. So that's that. So this one was so full that it's the brood and a half. They've got next to no room in there at all already. So I thought, well, just to be on the safe side, it's not going to hurt. I've got to come back up here today. Let's get a super on it. I know it's early in the season, but they're so full, it's not going to do any harm. And they've got plenty of feed in there, so what they've stored. So that's cool. We'll get that done. And the other thing is, we went through the nukes. So these two nukes doing really, really well. They're over about 4 frames, getting on to 5 frames. They're going out to customers, along with some others at home. That one on the end, that was one of my, not my queens from last year, the queen from the year before. And I've gone in there yesterday and it's full. It's on 6 frames and bursting. So I intend to move it to the home apiary, and just to see how, because it looks like it's quite a good colony. So we'll keep an eye on that one. But because I'm going to move it, what I've decided to do is, rather than put them in a full-size colony, which is what they need, we're just going to put them an extension box on for now. So all we're literally doing today is we'll throw that on the top. That gives them the space, and then you know, when we get back from holiday, we can move them. It's much easier to move them like that because it's much lighter and easier to strap down. And then we'll take that back to the home apiary and get them into a full-size box. So that's what we're doing today. I'll get the top off that one, and I'll show you just how big that these. If you looked in these two, you'd think they were big, but looking in that one, realised that actually they look mediocre compared to this one. So let's have a look at that. So there we are. Let's show you this. Look, so they're on, filling every single frame. Now we've seen these girls bringing in pollen. Oh, it's nice and warm coming out of there. They're all active. Look, they're all nice and gentle. So let's not be in here too long. I could, obviously with a colony that size, you can almost bet your life there is a queen in there. And the fact that they are bringing in the pollen as well. So ideally, if you were going to do something similar to this, you'd mix up the frames a little bit, so that you'd pull a couple of the frames up here, and then you put some of these down. But as they're across the whole lot, if I do go in there now, what am I going to achieve if I injure the queen? Nothing at this stage of the game. So they might as well. I'll leave it. There's a little bit of food on the top. They're up in the feeder there as well, so they've got to come through. So when we get back, we can move these. So that, hello ladies, and that's all we needed to do with that one. So, you know, I said that that was the end of the month and we didn't do more filming because I'm on holiday. Well, here we are. We've managed to find the Honey Museum of Madeira. Look at this spinner. Ooh. That's me. So look at this. This is something you don't see every day. This is a beehive made of cork. How cool is that? And there's another cork one. So these were used in North Portugal. That's it then. We've had a little visit of the honey museum, and we've bought ourselves some local honey from the local bees, which is just up in the hills up here apparently. So looking forward to taking that home and giving it a try.